Okay, Kevin May, Editor-in-Chief of PhocusWire. I'm here with Lukas Hempel. You're the founder and the managing director of BookingKit, based in Berlin. Okay, hottest sector in the industry. I've just said that on stage. Is it hot or is it just warm?
It's hot. It's not for us hot, but it's the industry is hotting up and finally getting the attention we feel it needs to get. Okay. And there's more coming, as I believe.
Okay, so right, I am going to ask you this because I did the same on stage with the panel earlier. So 2 big vendor deals a month ago.
That's it. Another one 4 months ago, 3 months ago.
Exactly. So tell me, what was your first word to when you heard that Booking had bought Fair Harbor? What was your
I would go with expected as well.
That was expected,
yeah.
As well. Okay, and what about the other deal, TripAdvisor for Boken?
Sense. So it's a bit like the rationale of Booking and Fair Harbor jumps to mind easily. And the rationale of Booking and Trip is still to be seen. So I love the guys, I love Hjalti as founder of Boken, but the rationale behind the deal still remains really to be seen. And I would have understood if like Trip acquired a product such as Fair Harbor and Booking more looking for reselling acquired Boken the other way around. But this way, I don't really understand the defensiveness maybe of the Trip strategy.
Yeah, interesting comments from, I think it was Dermot Halpin at Trip after the Boken deal, and he was effectively igniting the industry with a bit of a price war. What's your view on that? Because that's right up against you then, isn't it? They're going to start, effectively what would be a price war in the vendor space. Was it worrying or?
Well, first of all, we are really happy if there's more attraction, more tension in the space, and there's more people working on the process, because when you're looking at suppliers levels, the first thing we all need to do together is a large chunk of educational processes, because these suppliers are heavily based on legacy technology, paper and pencil technology, and the first step to get them out there is not having cheaper prices or not having better products or anything. It's really getting the education to say, okay, you need to shift away from paper and pencil, from legacy software, to modern driven systems. And once we all together we achieve that, and there the more the better really it is, after that step then begins the sales step, and there truly we will see the best products working out, because these suppliers, they need to cover their entire business for all of us B2B services to make sense. And I believe there will be specialists for destinations, there will be specialists for certain verticals, but one of the decision points is going to be price, but it's not going to be the only one. So we don't fear a price war it's not going to change the market.
Right, but if you're a supplier and you're faced with 2 options, one is X number of euros and the other one is a lot cheaper, X number of dollars, and you're a supplier, many of these suppliers, unless you're the Eiffel Tower or the Louvre, aren't rolling in money. They're going to go for the one that's the cheaper option, right? So
I don't believe so. We see that in many other products, that it's not like a commoditized product where you say, okay, you can really exchange it, but we see that depending on the vertical, and tours and attractions is so large in terms of different verticals. You have top tier attractions, you have long tier tour operators, you have everything in between, and they need something to run their business on. And one of the decision points they do believe in is price, but it's just one of the decision points, because the other thing is, if I'm using a software which is not perfectly suited to my business, I'm paying otherwise. I'm paying with higher operational costs, with less good software, right. And that has to take into account as well.
Right. The guys on stage all said, they seem to have a different kind of point of view. They're worried about, well, not worried, but they think it's going to be a bit of a challenge for the vendors now, given that the OTAs are an OTA in the shape of Booking and TripAdvisor have now bought into the vendor space.
Well, I believe like if you compare a bit to the situation after Trip bought Viator, it's what happened there is there a lot of money floated into the market, and I believe a lot of our founding rounds, the guys you just said of Tao, of Eric, of Martin and Luke, would not have happened without an acquisition of Viator, because it floated so much money into the space. And what will happen right now is there will be a lot of money, there will be a lot of attention also to the B2B space, because if we face reality, the reality is there's a large chunk of demand, and this demand is hitting not digitized supply. And not one, not two, not three services will solve this problem, but it's a task we have all do together, and it's a task someone will solve in Amsterdam, someone will solve in Berlin, someone will solve for top tier attractions in New York, and it's not going to be a market where the winner takes it all.
It often sounds like it's peace in the valley. Everyone in tours and activities just gets on really well. But the hard economics of running a business is gonna kick in at some point, isn't
That's
it?
true. Yeah, that's true. But if you go down on SaaS metrics, and you go down on SaaS metrics, it's really about achieving an earn back on a customer level. So, and how do you achieve that earn back is you deliver a great product, the software, so the guys are willing to pay for it because they see a value in it. And you can give less value and maybe charge less for that, then probably get into there. Or so you have to get the supplier on board. And truth is, no one on the B2B services in the world, not a FareHarbor, not a BookingKit, not a Tracksoft, not a Bokun, has a relevant set of suppliers on board. No one has. So compared to suppliers not being on any systems, it's all tiny, even if we would merge all of them together. Yeah. So the real question is, who gets into the game and who attracts more suppliers? And I'm really asking myself, is that going to be the ones with the cheapest price? If we look at our statistics and we look in our supplier sales funnel, we see that price is not one of the top tier things to say no to software as BookingKit. And we are more expensive than FareHarbor because we charge the supplier. We're obviously more expensive than Bokun because they charge nothing. And still we do good sales. So I believe in the decision process of all these suppliers, it's just one argument and it's not going to change everything. But
okay, so tell me, Lukas, what's your number one challenge as a company? Is it just getting suppliers online and real-time availability, all the things that you always hear people in the space talking about, or is it something else?
Well, it's down to earth. It's really the hard work of getting the suppliers on board, and it sounds like yes, you just need to do that, but it's hard because it's fragmented. It's different across each market. You can't compare even within Europe. You can't compare French market, German-speaking market, and Italian market. And you really need to understand the metrics, the unit economics, and the sales metrics for all these markets, for all these verticals to be successful there. Yeah. And that's a hard job. And that's, again, no one did it so far. We'll see. And I'm totally, we are not the guys saying it's not going to change anything. It's going to be a new level of competition, but still 95% of suppliers have nothing. So they have paper and pencil, and to get them away from that, that's a job we all have to achieve together.
Yeah, and how do you expand? Do you just think of a supplier market like you have in Germany, other countries in Europe, and just tackle it by that, or do you think, okay, let's just pretend we're global and anyone can come onto the system, or are you being very specific about how you grow?
Well, we do have a supplier base which is global, which tends, anyone you ask...
It's probably skewed towards...
Anyone you ask will say, on my slide it has 100 countries and we have suppliers all over the world. Yeah. But truth is, when you narrow down, you pinch into certain countries, for everyone, there's certain, it goes about density but in these markets. And this is why our sales efforts is really focused on getting density in markets we operate in. So we are now the market leader in German-speaking markets, in Italy and France. We'll proceed to keep our focus on Europe and then going from Europe to the rest of the world. But I believe...
One step at a time.
Yeah, I really believe that there's not going to be a player doing the entire world at the same pace and at the same time.
Because it's too fragmented.
It's fragmented in destination and in vertical.
Okay, so how have you approached funding and investment? Is it just what's the kind of strategy around doing that? Is it because we need to get some investment because we want to tackle the next region? Or is it because we want to invest in technology? What's been your approach with funding?
Well, when you look at a company as BookingKit, really one thing which drives us is again supplier acquisition. And for supplier acquisition, we follow really carefully unit economics in terms of how much money we spend on one supplier and how much do we earn it back. And once we have the confidence, we feel confident that we can scale that in certain markets, in certain verticals, we put more salespeople and more marketing efforts on that. And once we feel there's a limitation in the money we have and the money we can burn, then we normally raise a new investment round. But in the past, we always could get the money for that earlier than needing it, so that's not has been an issue so far.
Okay, right. Lukas from BookingKit, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you so much,
See
Karen.
you again.
Always
Thank
a pleasure.
you.